Right, here we are with the latest edition of a Podful of Saints. Dramatic start there. 7th of January 2025. With myself, Dave Tavener, the man in the dark there with a light on top of his head, Jake Ellacott,
Thank you so much, Dave. Hello, everyone.
and a non-croaky this week, Lee Wood.
I'm feeling much better, boys. I've had some chicken George, I've had some three brewers, and I've had some mad squirrel. I feel like £16.50. It's brilliant. Let's crack on.
But while you're having all that, Lee, did you watch any football?
No, not as well.
No, no.
No, sadly not.
Yeah,
No.
so you're the ideal supporter. Pay to get in, all that food, don't watch football. Nothing to moan about. Right, we are going down to Priory Lane, somewhere in Sussex. God, it was cold down there, wasn't it, Jake? I popped down to the seafront before the game, and that wind chill. Phil, one of the supporters stand next to, he said it was -5 down there, and well, I think that's being generous. He certainly felt it. But excellent football warmed us up, obviously. What do we make of it? No, wasn't a great game. Not a lot to get excited about. We competed, no doubt about that. We competed well, but we just didn't create enough. Ken Charles hit a post. Shaw Jeffers put one straight at the keeper. David Longking put one in the sea. No, he put two in the sea almost. One, it looked like he should have scored, really. But apart from that, we didn't create an awful lot. But Eastbourne, they were the same. They scored a goal. They had a couple of other chances. One's header sort of off the line, but more in the 6-yard box, and another header they put wide he should have scored from. And I think manager Adam Murray got it about right. He didn't enjoy it 1 minute of that game. It's about their worst performance of the season, and the cold day attracted their second lowest attendance of the season as well. All in all, not a lot of enjoyment from the side of the pitch. Was it any better behind the goal, Jake?
Uh, Not in the first half, at least. Second half was slightly better. Yeah, we sort of mentioned briefly, didn't we, last week, that Eastbourne don't score a lot of goals, and if that was going to be our route into the game, and it proved that way. They did score a lot of goals, but we scored even less, unfortunately. And it's a shame the manner of their goal and to give it away so early. I think that was once that had gone in, it was always going to be an uphill struggle because we know Eastbourne are very good defensively, don't we? And it proved that way. But as you said, we had a couple of chances, didn't we, in the end, and just not quite enough, unfortunately.
It's funny that goal, isn't it? Ian Culverhouse quite rightly said it was a bad goal to concede because from Alfie Pavey when he fed who's the chap down the right hand side there, whoever it was, he has space. They both had space, and then the ball cut back to Courtney Clarke, and he just stroked in for 10 yards, and there wasn't anybody on him. So you got three players there. We didn't pick up any of them. So defensively for us, a very bad goal to concede. Yeah, so Courtney Clarke just struck it away comfortably. Luke going behind that early wasn't what we needed there against that side. They defend quite strongly. You're right, they don't score many goals, and we needed to avoid letting one in because they don't concede either. So it was a sense of doom once they got that goal. What about our side? Starting lineup again. A couple more changes for in Culverhouse. Ken Charles came in. Alfie Payne came back in. Out went Castellano and Hutchinson. Any surprises there?
Not
Payne getting in with Ben Smith now out of the squad completely. Maybe less of a surprise. Sorry.
I don't think it was much of a surprise to see Payne back in, wasn't it? We identified that the midfield was going to be a concern against Eastbourne last week, and if we didn't sign a midfielder, I think we talked about that Alfie Payne was likely to come back in, and he did. And again, it wasn't a spectacular performance, but then no one had a great performance on Saturday, did they? Really, Fence did okay, but the other changes weren't surprised. I think Dom Hutchinson's still getting back to fitness, isn't he? By all accounts, against the other week when he started. Really, the only expectation was he was going to feature 20 minutes in the whole game. So he's still coming back. And yeah, the squad, again, there's just a few key positions, isn't there, that are just lacking at the minute. And I think you saw that with the team that started on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to find much to say about the game. It was just a battle. We ground it out. As their match report said, they were under cosh at times, but that's overstating the point a bit. I think we certainly had a lot of a possession, but we just didn't create enough to turn that game around. Unfortunately, David Longkeen probably had our best chance of the night. Ken Charles, that shot, camera catches it nicely. Very unlucky, wasn't he? Hit the inside, well, almost the inside of the post.
Yeah, he did tremendously, didn't he, to create that
Yeah.
opening. And then I think earlier in the first half, he had another little role there where he created a good opportunity that ended up with a free kick that didn't lead to anything. I think there were positives. Eastbourne are a good side, and we did have we did control the game at times, and that's a positive. And I know a lot of fans travelled down to Eastbourne more in hope than expectations, and we put in a decent display against a team that they're not great going forward, but they're getting results. They're up there. They're in the race. They're full time as well. We know they've got a big budget there. We did okay. And as you say, another day, Ken Charles, it was a matter of inches, wasn't it? And it was the same with Long Kings. Last week he scores a brilliant goal, doesn't he? This Saturday just gone, it was a similar sort of setup, really. Probably even closer and actually probably easier, really. And to send it over the bar, I think once that happened, it was a case of, it's not our day, is it? And a couple of fans commented that a team like Eastbourne or a team like a lot of teams in our division, they only need one chance, score a goal, and then that's it. Whereas unfortunately, we need 2 or 3 potentially at the minute to put goals away, and that's just proving to be a little bit of an issue, unfortunately.
You'll be able to come in on this, Lee. Sean Jeffers, pretty ineffective at the moment, unfortunately. Having a quiet time. His last 12 starts, only 1 goal. Which is a terrible stat for him, if not a great stat for any supporter. We keep saying, is it the supply that's not right for him? Certainly losing Mitchell Reese in the summer, that is a big blow. They worked together. That was one of many poor decisions last summer. No two ways about that. And it's cost the club big this season, particularly Sean. But is it also, he's moving towards 33 in a few months' time. He's obviously at the wrong end of his career in that respect. But can we still get the best out of him if we get the right players around him?
I think that's probably true for any player who's struggling. If you surround them with the right caliber of player, then they should thrive. It's a good point because after the game on Saturday, I was sort of in a chat with a few other fans, and I wouldn't say it's a honeymoon period per se because it's a transitional one. But they are worried about the lack of creativity that the club are sort of showing of late. And I wonder whether, Saturday was the first game I've missed under the Culverhouse reign. Do you think he's sort of overcompensated for the fact that he's just trying to, set our stall out, become harder to beat, and as such, he sort of let go some of our attacking creativity flair? Because the fact of the matter is, it didn't always used to be the case that Sean Jeffers needed 3 or 4 chances to score a goal. And I think Ken Charles early on in the season was showing a bit more ruthlessness in front of goal as well. So I don't know whether that's sort of come into the equation. Sean Jeffers is still a class act, in my opinion, but we are not in a position to be sort of carrying Deadwood regardless of who you are. And I think the fact that we've signed Harrison Smith shows you an indication of the sort of forward that Ian Culverhouse is looking for, maybe with a bit more pace, maybe to run in behind, stretch the back line, all of that sort of thing, tick, tick, tick. But we still need to have an end product. Ken Charles has shown glimpses of what he can do. But we've got to start hitting a target because whilst the defence has really sort of stood up over the last month or so, I think it's really now time for the forwards and the creative midfielders at that as well. It can't always be put on the shoulders of the forwards to step up because... So my question is this. Do you think Ian Culverhouse and Paul Bastock have overcompensated for the fact that we were so open, so expansive and leaving holes? Or is it just a case of you would rather try and win ugly for the first few months of their reign in the hope that there's some results and some performances on the back of that?
No, I don't think they have sacrificed it at all, Lee, because on Saturday they went with Ken Charles and Sean Jeffers up front from the start. So a bit of attacking intent there. I think the problem still, we've banged on about it a lot this season, is the midfield. The midfield is so weak. We hear they're creative players. Well, they're not creating, and they are dragging us down. we don't create enough chances. So that means Ken and Sean have to pretty much score almost every chance, certainly 1 in 2. And that is a difficult thing to them to achieve. Until we get that midfield right, and you hope this pair, Ian Culverhouse and Paul Bastock, can start changing it around, we are in desperate straits. And it's after the game Saturday, it's the first time I've heard supporters behind the goal actually saying, we're not going to get out of this. They've always been behind the club all the way this time. But I heard, talking to a couple Saturday, it's the first time they think we are in serious trouble here. Over to you, Jake.
Yeah. Cheers, Dave, as always, for the perfect layoff. Yeah, I agree. I think that defensively we do look better, but I concur. It's the midfield. We've identified the midfield all season, haven't we? We identified it at the start of the season, throughout the season. It's been an issue. I think defensively, the midfield's looking okay at the minute. We've got that sort of coverage in front of the back 3 and 4 that seems to be working. But the balance, like you say, Dave, we either don't have the players or we do have the players, but those players aren't stepping up. They occasionally do something, but Zane Banton's had his moments in the last month or so. But aside from him, has there actually really anyone else? I think Gio Rasulo's had a couple of spurts, Maidstone away. Apart from that, not really. Castiglione's now gone in and out of the team, not really been doing much attacking-wise. We just don't have those players, and I don't know if it's either lack of confidence or they're still having to do too much defensive work, or we just need new face in there to try and liven it up. So it's a real area of concern, and I think it needs addressing in the next month or so if we are to have any hope of getting out of it. And you talk about Sean Jeffers and Ken Charles. I think Ken Charles has not been exactly perfect in front of goal either, has he? He's had openings. His scoring rates haven't been amazing either. Sean has just got such a high bar, hasn't he, that we've always measured him by. It's always going to be a bigger drop. But, I mean, both of them, was there really any service on Saturday? Not particularly, I didn't think.
No, I think that's right. So, Britt, come on to another forward then. You mentioned him a little while ago, Lee. Harrison Smith signed him on from Stevenage on Friday, day before the game. What have you got on him? Any positive thoughts? I would hope you have.
I mean, go on, Lee. You look positive.
Well, I mean, no, it's wind, mate. No, but the thing is, I think he just wants to be here, which is, and it's something different as well. You talk about service. There's those strikers who thrive on service, and then there's strikers who create their own chances as well. And I think he's definitely in the latter bracket. Young enough as well. He's a City fan, so you know that's always a feel good story in terms of the terraces, at least. How he fits into this system is going to be intriguing as well. But you're right, Dave. I mean, it's as though the forwards have had to sort of track back and sort of muck in a little bit in order to sort of create the space to create the chances in the first place. And it's not really where we want to see Sean or any of the strikers, to be fair. But look, it's Harrison. He said all the right things in his interview, which is great to see. We've now got to start seeing it. A little point in the era that you made, though, there, Dave. People are sort of getting a bit twitchy now. There's still a lot of football to be played. And I think that Ian Culverhouse and Paul Bastock are just waiting for the right midfielder to come along. I mean, good midfielders, you know, they're worth their weight in gold half the sort of time. And although we thought we had a couple of good ones at the start of the season, hasn't really sort of transpired into that. So I want to put the question to you, mate. Do you really think, given the match, we still got 4 months to go, do you share the other fans' concerns about where we are at the minute and where we're going to end up come May?
From a statistician or historian's point of view, we've had it. Everything is against us from the past. But no, I think there is still time. But unfortunately, that's what everyone said all season. We've got time. That's what everyone said about Dartford. That's what I said about Havant. And Dover, well, not Dover, they were dead and buried early on. Plenty of time. And we're still in this position. We beat Enfield, which was crucial. You can't lose to one of the sides down there. Of course, they then bounced back to go above us with a win over Chelmsford. Weakened by losing 3 of our loan players, the day before the game or whatever. We are running out of time. There's no two ways about it. on Saturday we've got a side that's bang out of form, and we've got to make sure they continue that run. But yeah, I agree with you there, Lee. There is time, but we can't keep saying it. You go along with that, Lee? Jake?
Easy to confuse us. I do, yeah. And there is still time, and there's still not a huge need to panic. Well, it probably is a huge need to panic. But what gives me hope is that fabled Ian Allenson season. You know, when he came in with 12 games to go, and what we were about 7 points adrift looking at the table lately. There is an opportunity, and what was noticeable then, and we talked about it, actually a few of us fans talked about it last week, including Andrew Levy, who watches, that he didn't sign quantity, he signed quality to change that team, and it was real quality, and it did a job. Wasn't spectacular, but you know, Falasitas, McDonald, Anderson, those three did a brilliant job coming in and changing the team. And I just think Culverhouse and Baz are looking the same way. We've brought in a few faces. They've been good so far, but I think a couple more this month potentially will be those players that are the next level, have that ability to try and drag us out of this situation. So I think that's going to be the key.
Ian Allison's actually still quite modest about it. He gives a lot of credit to the players who were there, who just stepped up, really, along with the imports he brought in. Anyway, that's going back, 8 years or so. Right, Harrison Smith, bit of news about him. He turns 20 on the 20th of January. His mum went to Townsend, as all the best people did. His dad went to Nicky B. Where else? They live in Hill End. We don't need to know that. The trouble is, he has got a terrible record of injuries. You can tell me what an ACL is, Jake. His first time he suffered that was in August 2021. Got back for a few weeks, then injured the knee again. Was out from October 22, January 23, March 23. Did the ACL again. Back in January 24. From what as soon as we signed him, I got 3 texts saying what a good signing is. Really supportive, which is great news, of course. Stevenage think he's a great talent as well, and the theory is that he will thrive eventually in National League South. I'm not sure if Normal City will in a year's time, but we'll wait and see. So all the feedback on him is positive. It's going to be interesting to see if Ian is brave enough to put him into the side, because he played 17 National League South games for Worthing, but he only started in 2 of them. So although he got good reviews down at Worthing, they were reluctant to chuck him in. And looking at that record this season, it's difficult to argue against it.
Yeah,
but it certainly sounds a good one.
It does. I mean, you talk about those reviews from Worthing. All the Worthing fans I've seen online were really quite sad to see him go and disappointed that they let him go and possibly wasted an opportunity to sign him. So for him to make that impact in the limited time he's had on the pitch for them, I think is a real testament. I actually think it's a bit of a statement signing to get him on a permanent deal for 18 months. Really, really good. It's just a shame that it's in the position where we are. I think if we were higher up the table, I think this would have been quite a good intent, but it is what it is. But like Lee said earlier, he says all the right things. I think it's really interesting. We've heard from others, and including Harrison, how he wants to hold up the ball and get others involved. I think that might be an inclination to the way we're playing, and that it's not going to be him just up on his own in the forward areas. I think he's going to be alongside a striker. I wouldn't be shocked if that's Sean Jeffers longer period potentially, but it could be Ken either way. But it just gives us another option as well. We started the season with Sean, Ken and Sam Meeks, and that third option just wasn't ever there, was it? But now you've got Jeffers, Ken Charles, Harrison Smith, and that's a much stronger sort of forward pack. I wouldn't be shocked if he starts fairly quickly in games, to be honest.
It's almost striker for striker. In comes Harrison pretty soon after Finley Wilkinson returned to Barnet. Poor old Finn, it didn't work out for him at Clarence Park. It was a loan period that was a disaster. Did nothing for his career at all. And we just hope for better things for him when he goes back to Barnet.
Yeah, well, he's already gone to Chelmsford, isn't he? So he wasn't at Barnet for very long. So yeah.
Would you want to be? I've got a couple of final things on Eastbourne. They're the lowest scorers in the top 12. One other side's got 31 goals as low as them, but no one's got less. And I think we can see why. It's certainly not the most entertaining side. But the one thing annoyed me, Jake, time wasting on Saturday. All right, they were doing it early on in the first half. They got that goal, and they didn't need to do that. Celebrating a year of Adam Murray as manager, they could have put a bit more effort into it. But the one who wasted most time, I don't know if you picked up on it, Tim and I did, was Lewis Sando, the referee. What on earth was he doing? Every free kick. No, you're not taking it. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do it. You wait till I blow my whistle. And he wasted so much time, and he didn't have his own time wasted on. It's not the first time we've had him, but it's the first time he stood out like that. And talk about an over-officious official.
Maybe he was just really enjoying his day in the bitterly cold wind of the south coast. Yeah, didn't appreciate that, but it is what it is.
Right, you can go on the next one. Lee, in comes one. Smith, out goes another one. Ben Smith, has he gone or is he going? Any news, anybody?
Yeah, Jake, didn't we see a post on X that he's been released and he's on a free transfer? I think the issue with Ben Smith, he was just an enigma that we didn't sort of seem to make the most of. Nobby seemed to like him. He's a good little player, very, very tidy, very compact. But I think what you've seen, he came into the side, cost a goal away to Hemel. It just didn't really click, did he? And I think he flat to deceive in quite a lot of games that he played. I think this was probably his level. But we now need people, midfielders, certainly in the key area, to start stepping up and sort of playing out of their skin. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I know that you weren't so keen on Ben Smith, Tavs, but I think he was just he was doing what he was told to do, just passing the ball, keeping it safe, protecting the ball, protecting the back line as well. I think he had a bit more to his arsenal than that, if I'm honest. I think he did sort of show glimpses of it last season, certainly. This season, I don't really think he's got a fair crack at the whip, which is saying something considering the amount of midfielders that have come in and failed to impress as well. And the fact he still couldn't get into the side probably says a lot about where he is. But look, I mean, midfield is a key area for us, no doubt about it. I'm just not entirely sure that he was the answer.
To me, he's a product of the modern game. Just keep possession at all costs. And somebody needed to turn him round and say, look, there's the opposition goal. Try and put some balls up there. It's going to create chances for us. And until he does that, he's not going to make an impression on the game, unfortunately. It's too one-dimensional. I said a few weeks ago, I'd be happy to keep him in the squad because I think he's got the potential to do that. But someone's got to really coach it into him and get it out of him. Otherwise, it could be a wasted career. He could be playing at this level if he can play like that. I mean, have you got any thoughts on him, Jake?
Yeah, I think we've talked that earlier season, didn't we? That, when he first came into the side, he looked fairly dynamic in a way. He covered a couple of positions, looked all right, and then unfortunately just didn't quite. He may have had the passing stats that some people love and sort of claim he was the best midfielder at the club, but he just didn't quite show it, did he? Unfortunately, and I think he's a young talent. I think a lot of fans actually were quite excited when he first arrived and thought he'd do a good job there, but he just never quite lived up to it. And like you, Dave, I'd have been happy to see him stay around. We presume he's gone because of these posts on social media saying he's available for signature or he's a free agent now. But yeah, it's a shame. I thought Worthing away, he looked a little bit more positive, didn't he? And you noted afterwards how the coaching team were pretty much shouting at him, look forward, look positive with the ball, don't sort of just turn backwards all the time. And I think there is that potential there, but clearly the management team thought they'll, cut their losses if he has left. And surely this suggests that a midfielder will be coming in very shortly, if not two, because we've let go of Ben Smith and Matt Lynch now, two midfielders in the last 5-6 weeks. There's a lot of space now in that squad for a midfielder. I think the desire for it. And surely we're going to see that come in now.
The club's media did Ben no favours at all last summer when they put that stupid thing out saying who's ready or excited about a signing a player who's made a 90-odd% success pass rate. Well, he was already with the club. He wasn't a signing. Yeah, but it was 91% passing to Michael Johnson. We could all do that. And unfortunately, I got people, I think, against him right from the start. We don't want that. It's what Nobby wants. We want someone who's going to create things, and that's comment has come up so many times during the season. It didn't do Ben any favours at all.
Speaking of stats, Tavs, we're already half an hour into this pod, mate. You got any sort of juicy little nuggets for me? Because I do love a stat, you know that.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, Saturday was our 501st game on a Saturday in January. Not this January, all Januaries. That was our 5,100th game or league game or something off the top of my head. I should have looked this up, really, and it would be a lot smoother, wouldn't it?
I'll take it. It's good. It's good stat. It's juicy. It's good.
Right. Let's quickly look forward then. This coming Saturday, we're on the coast again, on another coast this time, there in Somerset, Weston-super-Mare. Not a ground where we always have success. We did last year, although our record in recent years is pretty good. I did have it up here. Now it's gone AWOL. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight wins, when a home defeat, and since then a win and draw. So take back what I said earlier. Our recent record against them is extremely good. And earlier this week, Jake, you asking me about a game that had a late kickoff down there. What was all that about?
Oh yeah, back in what year was it? We worked out
2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, kicked off about 3:30, and then by about I think 3:45, we were already 3-0 up, weren't we? So that was a very comfortable afternoon. Matt Ball at the wheel. What a midfielder he was. Yeah, that was a very entertaining afternoon. It was an extraordinary afternoon. Don't often see the referees sat on the pitch on some deck chairs at 3 p.m. waiting for the away side to arrive. So that was an entertaining, and that has always been a fun memory. Weston away. So yeah, that's a fun one to think about.
I remember Ian Anderson saying about that. He said that often works in the team's favour, the one that turns up late, because the other team is there, ready, they're out there, they go back in, they're getting frustrated. Well, you're sitting on a coach, you just can't do much. You turn up, and then you go and thrash them 3-0. I remember it happened down at Dorchester once as well. I think we were a goal down in a minute after getting there late, and we did them 4-1. So we'll try this for home games, because our record down the park, as everyone knows, is absolutely abysmal.
Are you suggesting that we turn up late on Saturday, Dave? Make Weston wait 2.5, 3 hours like we did that time? We work again. That's
the trouble. We keep turning up late for games. We were 9 minutes late last Saturday. Anyway, what do we fancy? On 23rd of November, Seagulls, Weston-super-Mare, were top of the table. Since then, they've gone a little run of 8 games without a win, tumbled down to 7th, just 3 points in that time. Well, it's an easy City win, isn't it? Who wants to go first on that?
I'm looking forward to this one. I've never actually been to Weston away, so I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah, they're not on the greatest run, but then again, I guess you could say that we aren't. Haven't been all season, to be fair. Given their recent run of form, they've still got players that can hurt us. Your Ruben Reeds and your Dodds and your Jenkins and whatnot. So I think, but the one thing I would say, defensively, I think we're good. Normally, it's the defence that has always been the concern, and we were sort of scoring goals, which was fine. Now it's flipped on its head entirely. Defensively, I think we are really emerging into a really handy unit. I think it's just where the goal's going to come from. You spoke about him earlier on, Tabs, Gio Rasulo. I mean, it's all well and good having 3 or 4 flashy passes every other game, but we need him to sort of chip in with some goals as well, right? Banton has sort of shown that he's maybe coming back into some sort of form. But again, we need goals from him. He can't always be reliant on Sean and Ken up front, as much as it is their job, of course. I like us to get something. Whether we get the 3 points, I think is probably stretched too far. But again, I don't think we go into this fearing anybody. I think if we just play our game, hopefully we can create enough to get a couple of goals, perhaps. But at the minute, yeah, I don't know where they're going to come from.
How confident are you, Jake, after getting the score correct at Eastbourne?
I know. Let's note that my reverse psychology didn't work, but it gave me an excellent result. on the face of it, not confident. But when you look at their form, it is dreadful, like you said, Dave. I mean, they're below us in the form table for the last 6 games. That's quite impressive.
Beautiful.
I think if you put it into the context of that form, we have to go there and get a result, I think, because at the minute we're a tough run. We've got a lot of tough games. If they're on dreadful form, why can't we capitalise if we've been playing a bit more positively like we have yesterday? I think, like Lee says, we need to get those more creative players involved. That might be difficult, but we have to because we need that service for the forward players, whoever it is. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Harrison Smith start, potentially myself. Will we see Castiglione come in? Maybe. I think if Dom Hutchinson's fit, I also wouldn't be surprised to see him start after his assist against Enfield. I think defensively, we've got a basis there now. We've got players that are in. It's just looking towards those areas further forward now to step up, isn't it?
They came to the park, what was it, September time, and they've made a good start to the season, whereas we made just about one of our worst starts in our history. And you expected them to come at us, and they didn't. They were negative. They came for a 0-0 draw, and they got it instead of coming to beat us. So I was surprised at their attitude there. What are they going to be like Saturday? They're going to be edgy, as Lee says. We're slaughtering them on current form. Or yeah, I think you might have done that, Jake. Sorry. It's two sides out of form. It could be the dullest 0-0 draw ever. Or it could be high scoring because they're just so bad at the moment. Who knows?
Well, I mean, we've got to capitalise, haven't we?
Yeah.
We haven't come up against a lot of out of form teams this season, so we need to pick up points here and now. I noticed yesterday they had 4 players that they had on loan recalled as well at the end of their loans. They've lost. I presume they'll bring in some more this week, but again, that's a big loss, isn't it? And we've got to go there just with some confidence, and I know we will. Speaking to Bazza in the clubhouse after the game on Saturday, he's comfortable, he's positive about where things are, and I'm sure that will carry on in the squad going into Saturday. It's a great opportunity to get something.
There's an opportunity for you on Saturday as well, Jake, because they're looking for somebody to be Sammy the Seagull mascot. So, if you're not doing anything during the game,
thank you.
It's a pleasure, no problem.
It's also worth noting, it's like pay what you want day,
Yes.
isn't it? So I think as long as it's...
That's conceded down to the ground tabs, isn't it, eh? You're getting out the old groats and stuff and your pesetas.
£2 or more, isn't it?
Yeah. A normal price for old gits, I think it's about 11 quid. So, yeah, if you go somewhere between the two, the charity they're giving all the money to will be very happy.
Here we go.
Well,
£2 and 1 pence. Tavener.
Yeah. Right, come on then. Let's do some predictions for this. You're on a hot winning streak, Jake, so you've got to go first, obviously.
I'm going to go 2-1 Saints.
Was that, mate?
2-1 Saints.
I'm going to go for a very conservative 1-1 draw.
Ooh.
Which I would be more than happy with, by the way.
Well, you've gone for 2-2-2. Oh my God! You've gone for a couple of Desmonds recently. 2-2s. Right. What should we go for? Well, Jake's gone for a win, hasn't he? I didn't expect that. After predicting 6 or 7 straight defeats, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
Oh no!
Love it. Love that.
Well, our records against them is so good recently. Why go against it? Right, what complaints we had this week? Well, a couple of people complaining about the match day commentaries. Thankfully, we're at games, we don't have to suffer them and can have the highlights on mute. What have we got praise in the club? Oh, okay. Right, you two, got anything you want to chuck in?
Oh, that was classic.
That was brutal. We love the club. We love the club.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me.
I'm good. Mate. I can't follow that. You've absolutely binned them off entirely. Brilliant.
Nothing to me. Somebody else's comments. I don't endorse those comments. I mean, it's shameful lack of support.
Oh no, Dave, stop.
Should we jump ship now?
Yeah. Anything else?
We stop there.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you all for watching. Podful of Saints on Twitter. Email description below. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Really appreciate all the response and engagement. And we will speak to you again next week after the Saints surely pick up a good result on the road. Let's just say that. Come on, you Saints. Bye-bye, everyone.